What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I wanted to give you guys some XP sliders. I wanted to make sure that we got enough experience in just to see how things compare on CFB 26 to CFB 25. And they are largely the same as far as XP is concerned. Last year, I recommended that you guys play on 200 XP for pretty much every single position. This year, I've adjusted a bit and there's some nuance going from position to position, but I definitely don't recommend that you go on the base of 100 XP sliders. Realistically speaking, even if you're playing a realistic dynasty, you get next to no upgrades for even the best players within your dynasty if you're playing on the base XP sliders. One of the things that is worth mentioning is that a lot of the upgrades can potentially come in the off season, but when you have a player that is leading for the Heisman, that is leading in all categories for a running back in the dynasty, that is a sophomore, so they're in the prime of their career in college here, and they're going to be soon going to the draft within the next couple of years, you would expect that player to get consistent upgrades. However, I want to show you guys this LSU roster. Yeah, we're 9-2, so it's not the best record it could possibly be. However, I really haven't spent many, if any, of the upgrade points. I think I might have gotten a couple of upgrade points with Durham, the running back, but I think I upgraded to Silver Shifty, which doesn't even cost that much, and I still just am getting pretty much nothing with this guy. Number one, because of the costs, but in addition to that, just simply not getting XP to raise this guy up to the potential that he should have. And that's one of the things that bothers me about the progression system within Dynasty Mode within college football. Luckily, we can affect it through sliders like our XP sliders, but this guy shouldn't take until a senior year to be able to upgrade, close to his potential. I mean, realistically speaking, especially with the cost of a lot of these things, he's never going to max out his potential. That's just the reality of it, even in 3 seasons with him. And he's not going to stay around for 3 seasons because of how good he's playing. He's probably going to go to the draft next season. So within 2 seasons, I'm barely going to be able to get him into the low 90s on base XP sliders. But again, taking a look at the roster as a whole, I think the highest that I have on anybody is like 3 skill points, just having played almost the entire season, and a lot of zeros on starters as well, 2s and 1s across the board. And just so you're clear on where I'm looking at, look at the top right hand corner right below their overall. You'll see how many points they've accumulated, and it's basically nothing. It's pretty much not viable to upgrade players and develop a team. And there we go, 3 points on my right guard, my freshman right guard Eccles, because he has star dev and I decided to start him early. So that's the only place that I'm really getting any type of upgrade whatsoever, and that bugs me. So here are some sliders that we're playing on that have yielded a lot better progression in our other dynasty. Number one, I want to mention that while we are playing on Heisman difficulty, we are also playing on fastest coach XP setting because we want it to be viable for coaches to be able to upgrade and become great coaches as well, and be able to actually have an impact on things within Dynasty Mode. Things slow down severely if you're playing as an existing coach, or once you get to like level 20 as a coach within Dynasty Mode, it just slows down to a point where it's not fun and you can't really continue to upgrade unless you're winning championships all the time, and that's just not realistic for everybody. When we take a look at our XP sliders, however, we'll go position by position here. Now, here's your opportunity to take a screenshot of the offensive XP sliders, and then here's your opportunity to take a screenshot of the defensive and special teams XP sliders before I go ahead and talk about them. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk position by position why I have them where I have them. Number one, you're going to be able to get a lot of upgrades with your quarterbacks and your running backs because you're going to be giving them the ball quite a bit. You're still not going to upgrade enough. So the base here is going to be 200 for any position. That's the lowest it's going to go. And so quarterbacks and halfbacks are going to get the ball more often than anybody else. Receivers are the same. So we're only giving them 200% XP boost but that's going to be enough to make it a little bit more realistic as far as these players progressing as a whole. Tight ends need a lot of help. Their upgrades can be a bit expensive in categories that matter, and they're not going to generally get the ball quite as much, and so they need all the help they can get upgrading wise. Likewise, we have all of the offensive line, tackle, guards, and center at 300. Some of their upgrades can be pretty expensive, and they just simply don't accumulate XP at all. I would turn this above 300 if I could, because developing a good offensive line is near impossible in this game. Even on 300% XP sliders, the progression here is just not realistic whatsoever. You should be able to develop top-tier offensive linemen and a top-tier offensive line without getting, an entire class of 5-star offensive linemen or something like that. So this should be able to go higher than 300. The game definitely needs tuned, but this is maybe one of the most important positions that is not getting enough XP within the game. And then we move over to the defensive side of the ball. This one kind of depends on how many sacks you're seeing within your dynasties. We have it set to 250 because even when players do really well at this position, it seems like they just simply do not upgrade quick enough, and so we have it at 250. It's not as bad as the offensive and the defensive line, so it's not all the way up to 300, but defensively speaking, most of these positions don't accumulate XP as quickly as something like a receiver, a halfback, or a quarterback would, because they're getting the ball constantly. So defensively speaking, it's a bit harder to get XP for a lot of these positions. Now, taking a look at the defensive tackles, they're very similar, in my opinion, to the offensive line. If I had the ability to increase things, I would increase the offensive line to 400 or 500%, and I would leave the defensive tackles at about 300. This is actually pretty appropriate for them. Likewise, for both linebacker positions, they just simply do not earn enough experience. But I don't think I would go too far above this. This seems to yield pretty consistent experience and appropriate experience for what players are doing. Then going into the secondary, upgrades are actually generally pretty inexpensive for defensive backs. So while we do want them to accumulate those points a little bit quicker, none of these are going to be quite crazy. And, safeties as a whole are not going to be absolutely crazy players, and that's reflected in real life with them being a much lower priority now for college football teams and NFL football teams, and them getting paid less. And so, on a general basis, we're not going to see safeties just skyrocketing in terms of overall, and you can actually get a decent output with just the 200% XP here. Cornerbacks need a little bit more help than that, but not too much, so we put them at 225. And then again, kickers and punters are something similar to like tight ends, where even if you're making kicks and whatnot, you're just not accumulating XP. And I don't know, I think it's kind of silly that over the life of a kicker's career, they could go up maybe like 1 overall point as a base. This makes it so that you can build a good kicker over time if you get the right guy that has a strong leg or something like that, or has, really good accuracy. 300% is going to make it so that your kickers and punters can actually become really solid kickers and punters, which does actually often happen within college football. But again, that's what I have as far as XP sliders are concerned. Like I said, last year I recommended a base of 200 on everything for those players. I felt like that wasn't even fast enough after how much we played the game. And so I went hardcore this year and I said, hey, if we're building teams, we want our players to be able to progress. I don't know how you guys feel about it. Let me know down in the comment section below. I really don't like the progression system as a whole within CFB. I wish that they would work on it and make it more realistic and make it more user-friendly, or just a better interface as a whole. I get where they're going with skill caps, and I get where they're going with off-season progression, and I get where they're going with not having that crazy of progression during the season, but it's too limiting. And it's one of those things, again, where, like, yeah, you want certain things to be realistic, but it's not a realistic game, and you want to be able to punch above your weight class. Otherwise, why would you ever play as 90% of the teams in the game? Everybody would always just pick Ohio State, Alabama, Georgia, Penn State, Oregon, Notre Dame, whatever, in Dynasty Mode. You want to make it feasible to take a team and turn them into a dynasty And so in my opinion, things need to be tuned to allow you to punch above your weight class. If you take a team and do really well with them, you should be able to boost them. If you take a player and do really well with them, you should be able to boost them and make them pop onto the scene and establish a name for that player, establish a name for your team and that type of thing, and build your team into a dynasty. So there's a lot there still to be desired for Dynasty Mode. Like I said, let me know down in the comment section what you guys think about those things that I was talking about. Make sure you leave a like on this video. If you enjoy all of my sliders, all my informational content, please leave that like down below. Subscribe if you want to see more. And as always, I'll see you in the next video, and I hope you have a good one.